It's Wednesday.
Welcome
Hello,
to Not
everybody.
the Scale Builders Guild.
Yeah, exactly. Logan is joining us this week. West Desert Wheeler. I'm sure you know, a man by many names with somehow that has happened.
So it seems to be that all those names come from this stream, but yeah,
I know.
glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Unfairly earned names for no reason. What did I ever do to you guys?
Yeah, logging into the stream here, my name there, I was like, Wes, Ding Dong, Dogan, all the other ones.
So many good ones. But yeah, thanks for filling Matt's shoes for the evening. That's they're metric shoes, but I'm sure you can handle it.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
When was the last time you built a pizza oven? That's the first question that we have to ask.
I plugged one in probably a couple years ago, and it hasn't moved since. So.
Yeah, perfect. I feel like I will have a similar experience going on here recently, but you know, whatever. So yeah, man, it's been we're coming into the back half of the year here, and I know I'm excited that you're here because you can also we can focus on so much Buggy talk since you've been doing.
I'm happy to do that. So
it's all I want to do ever, and I have to, you know.
Same. But even when you have one, even when it's that close, you still got to do life stuff. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to go live out there.
Nicole tells me that all the time. She's like, sometimes you have to do things that aren't just RC, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that.
Yep, I get the same thing from my wife.
I'm real bad at balance, you know. No matter.
Yeah.
Josh, you're on the wrong side. That is right. That feels better.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. Are we cooking pizzas tonight? I actually did have pizza before the show, so that counts. That's close enough. But yeah, that something did feel wrong with that. So glad we're there.
I gotta say, the whole toasted PB&J, what
Uncrustable?
The name of the skate? Uncrustable. Dude, what a move there. Wow.
I tell you what, started as a joke, ended as quite the discovery because it was delicious.
It looked like it.
I bought a 4-pack for I bought two Lunchable pizzas, cake, whatever those things, and then a 4-pack of Uncrustables just for that. And then my mistake was that I bought them 2 days before finishing the whole truck. So by the time I had got the truck done, I only had one Uncrustable left.
Yeah, that's how
you
it goes.
can't just have Uncrustables and then not decide that you want to eat them. And the Lunchables, I tell you, were very safe though, because those things are disgusting.
Yeah, I haven't had one of those since probably 3rd grade, and I don't think I'm missing them much. Even after watching it, I was like, nah.
Now, regular Lunchables, I'll take. That pizza thing, the worst. So, yeah, but then throwing that Uncrustable in there, I was just like, oh, this is.
I gotta say, the Uncrustables are probably unofficially like the official lunch of going out in the buggies. Like every time we take the real cars out, just everybody pulls them out of nowhere. We'll have like 6 of us, and all of a sudden, all of us are eating Uncrustables. It's too easy. Yeah. I just throw it in the backpack, and it thaws out as I drive, and then it's time to eat.
From the freezer, you just throw them in there. By the time it's about perfect, keeps you from, because the other problem with trail snacks I have found that if I have trail snacks and I just, as soon as I hit the trail, I'm like, I want a snack right now. Like, those, you have to wait a while. You have to let them unthaw or thaw. Unthaw is the wrong word, right? Yeah, just thaw. So yeah, that's they are the best. That has to be my most favorite trail snack. And even if they get smashed down a little bit, it reminds you of school lunch. So
I've ate plenty of smashed ones for sure.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Did Axial say anything about it? Not a word. Usually we get an email afterwards like, hey, thanks for the violence.
I bet they enjoyed it. I know a couple of the guys at Axial. I know at least a couple of the guys thought that was funny for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
But to your guys' credit, like, what are you really going to do with another base camp? Like, it brought more attention to it. That was an interesting take on it for sure.
Yeah, like what do you exactly like getting them? Just like, man, how are you gonna? I don't know what to say really for this, and that's how that whole thing came about. But once the next show or whatever, Matt and I are gonna have to read our text string about how that came to be, because it's another level of special. No news is good news. Not always. Not always. How hard is it to make a PB&J and toss it in the bag?
Why, when you can just buy it off the shelf and then throw it in the bag? Done.
What? Done.
That person does not have a 2-year-old. I can tell you that.
I don't have a 2-year-old either, so I can't make that excuse. Like someone sent me, or a number of people have sent me the Uncrustable Maker thing. Like, look, they'll do that. I'm like, I don't crave the shape or the lack of crust. Not the issue. It's the ease of use and deliciousness of it. Like that's all I'm after.
Are you grape or strawberry?
Grape. 100%.
I'm strawberry. I'm strawberry all the way. I don't even know if I've tried a grape one.
See, fake grape stuff in general is just my favorite. I like grape candy, grape soda, grape. Like I love any of that stuff. That fake grape flavor is perfection. Nicole, I can hear Nicole making gagging noises out there. I love it. Purple is my favorite flavor for sure. So Phoenix, 4 months, man. Thank you. Keep it classy. Uncrustables are a white glove level snack. Absolutely. Great minds think alike. See, I knew. Oh, but Tony is a fan of Burger King, so that's a tough one.
I'm not stopping at a Burger King.
Me either. I can't.
Is that why he's the king of RC? Is that how this became to be?
Right. Yeah. It started with Burger. He had the Burger King crown on still after lunch, and he goes, "I know. I have an idea." Might as well eat poison. I'm pretty sure I do pretty regularly, but you know,
same.
Whoppers for life. They also make a hazelnut version one, but I'm not interested in that. Just grape is unbeatable.
PB&Js for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh boy. So yeah, the base camp was a thing. We briefly discussed it. Well, we didn't really discuss it on the last stream because it was not out yet, I guess. So it was.
I really appreciated your like masonry warning, like
brick masons beware. Like
yeah,
because I know I didn't have time. It's not my best brick work. Well, it probably is my best brick work because I've never done any brick work before, but I know how it could be done better. I just didn't have time. So, still quite functional. I have not made anything else in it. I need to do that as a like a member video or something stupid. But yeah,
as the representative of Matt, I feel like I need to step in here and talk about how your truck is definitely more dangerous than Matt's is. And I like how you would intentionally like set it on fire, get in the slow mo.
Yeah.
I know that happened more than one time.
Oh, so many takes. I would just
poof. Basically got a propane powered truck there.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a Hank Hill base camp. Eyebrows are gone.
Yeah, exactly. Felt it. Justin, so now how much does it weigh? Oh, that was I put that in the comments of the video. Like, can you get, because yes, those are real brick, cut in half, stainless steel TIG welded, which was my first time TIG welding stainless.
Very cool.
Could you smell the chassis paint? I tell you what, I was shocked how well the bricks worked in functionality to keep the truck cool. The rest of the truck cool. So if you guys would like to put in your guesses for the weight, this is teared out to 0.
I did appreciate the temp gun in the video as well. I thought that was really cool. You could see this is crazy hot, and then this is like room temperature. I was very impressed with
I told Matt, I'm so ready for this truck to be melted. Like I'm out of time. I don't have any more time to do it. So whatever happens, happens. All right. I've got the number here. Pretty easy number to remember for me. But it the one thing that I didn't totally cover in the video is the fact it does drive. That was a requirement. So when I was building this, I was just like, oh, there's so much stuff in the way. I just want to make it simple. So I just locked out the rear suspension with links. So
that was a question of mine.
Yeah, it does not have suspension in the rear. I just like I showed some flex in the video. I'm like, hey, see, flex is still. You don't need to see where it's coming from. But
all the front end, 100% in the front
end. Oh, somebody got it on the nose here, and the first person to do that was Okay Then Leave. 9 pounds 5 ounces. That is exactly correct. So not that bad. You know, probably double the RTR.
Probably
weight.
Double.
But when you factor in the stainless and the brick and the mortar, I think that
we you got a layer of rock around the bed. That's not too bad, honestly.
You know, and it's real brick that I cut in half because otherwise it was going to be so thick. And the bricks were so expensive. You know how much money I spent in real brick for my base camping truck?
I have zero idea.
$60.
Ooh, that's a lot on little tiny bricks. Yeah. Was it like a piece of tile that you started with, or was it brick?
No, scale 1/6 scale real brick.
I'm thinking tile might be the way to go on the next one.
I was like,
like 98 cents for a square foot chunk. There you go.
I was like, and of course I had to have them right away. So my options were even more limited. Loopholes and things. Even the NFL loves Uncrustables. One team consumes about, somebody sent me an Instagram post showing the how many Uncrustables the NFL as a whole consumes in a month. And it was like 30,000+ or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Although if you're handing out free Uncrustables, they're going to go quick.
Yeah, you got a 375-pound lineman. Like, what is he? Like, are you going to grab a 6-pack? Like,
yeah, I'll take a 10-pack like chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
The most unhinged part of your video is how you took the tongs to take it out of the bag. I was laughing so hard that you didn't just grab the sandwich, you just tonged it out of the bag. Oh man, I was cracking up at that one.
It was, I had so much. And not only that, is Nicole brought those to me. She goes, hey, I have some mini tongs. Do you want them? They're this big. It doesn't come across in video so well, but they're only this long.
Yeah, I didn't notice that they were tiny, but I was laughing that you were using tongs to get them out.
Yeah, the tong part is about the size of my thumb. Just but Blaze Bricks, hey, look at that. What happened to your 1.9 Wraith, and what happened to your Poison Spider Wraith? The 1.9 Wraith, I sold that to JR Rosales out of the Bay Area in July of 2021, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And the Poison Spider Wraith, that turned into a different truck, I think, before I ended up selling it. I think I used it to turn into my 2012 TTC truck when I went out to Utah for Scale Nationals, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there you go.
Do you remember where that was at in Utah?
Cedar City was where Scale Nationals was at 3 Peaks, and then we had the TTC down in St. George.
That's a good combo.
Yeah, so we did. So back then, it was awesome back then. The Scale Nationals was 2 days, Friday, Saturday. So we did class 1, class 2, class 3, and of course, wildly different trucks back then, right? Because this was 10 plus years ago now. So wildly different trucks. And then there was a TTC, and the TTC was handled just like the full size Peterson's TTC, where you had to get voted in. So you had to present your trucks, and you get voted in, and 10 people would get the invite to go compete in that year's TTC. And I did it 2 years, once in St. George, and then the other year was it was up in Washington, Oregon, right on the line, one side or the other. And War Pig, Tim Samuels, we did it on, his family owns like a rail yard, like a rail spur. So he had built the TTC courses along the rail line, and he had a train, and we got on the train cars, and we would drive. And then somebody reported us to the FRA, and everybody ended up having to walk back because the FRA does not allow that type of shenanigans.
That's pretty wild. I don't know anybody who owns their own train track around here. So
yeah, I mean, like,
that's pretty awesome.
Can I use the horn? Tom Avil, I missed a couple weeks of streams recently. Are all of your robots gone now? No, not a single one. Every one of them is here. The one that you built is down there. My deluxe Sporty is up there. My deluxe Mercenary is right here. Which one's that? What is that? A Whitetown chassis?
No, so this one started as the deluxe Mercenary, and then I swapped the chassis to a Hitman Fab. And this is the Pseudo 3D.
Oh, that's like the Pseudo. I actually have a Pseudo 3D still, new in the box, never built.
I believe because the whole Shapeways thing, he's unable to make more of the internal parts, so the value of that just went up. So there you go.
I think I've had it for like 8 or 9 years in a box, printed in orange, if you can imagine.
Thomas got an orange one when I was there from Fab 801, and then I grabbed a red one at Nash. No, that was the Arizona Shootout last year.
Nice. Yeah, that I think my deluxe is it's not done, I guess. I really should get this finished, but it's got the Mercenary chassis on there, the fully loaded. It's got super lights front and rear. What ESCs and motors are you running on yours?
So yeah, that was actually going to be part of my mail call if we were going to get into that this week.
I can do that. I don't have a bunch, but let's just get into that now because I do have some.
So so I got these recently. I just switched to brushless. Let's see if I can get the right view. There we go. You can see the revolver in there. So I did Holmes 380 revolvers, front and rear.
Oh, and interesting. Then, what KV?
2000, I believe.
Okay.
And then for the ESCs, I found so there's a dude I met at Proline by the Fire. He goes by Apothecary RC on Instagram. And it's these secure.
You won't be able to spell that.
Yeah. Secure ESCs, and they're a Escape 32. So they're the little guys. Yeah. And then I put a combo of a 380 with that ESC in my Sportsman for Nationals, and it was awesome. I loved it. Super punchy, and then crazy good low end. It's super smooth transition from like the real low end to kind of once it gets going. Mm-hmm. And I was super impressed, so I decided to go all in and put 2 of those in here. So I actually cut off the battery plug because on an MOA, you have a motor on the front and rear. So you have an ESC for the front and the rear. So I cut the power plug off one of them and just looped it into the second one and just soldered in the leads so that you plug it in one side and it fires up both ESCs.
Right.
And then you have leads to your motors off each ESC.
Why are they called robots? They're not officially called robots. It's just that Matt always made fun of me for showing off these are called like 2.2 Pro is like what this one is. And that's when you have the motor on axle front and rear. They run a 2.2 inch wheel. And you know,
have fancy weights down inside the wheels.
Yeah. So you can see on the back side there, focus. The weight sits down inside of the wheel quite a bit. Of course, it doesn't want to focus. Whatever.
They're called loaded dice from Deluxe. They're called loaded dice.
Loaded dice. So it's a big brass thing that sits down there, and then there's tungsten slugs that also go in that you can tune how much additional weight you want to add. I've got all of them in mind. So yeah, that's I do need to get this finished. I've currently got Crawlmaster Magnum stubbies in mind, front and rear, with 2 BR Mini ESCs. This was I've got my Futaba receiver in here. It's been a while since I'm not really running Futaba anymore. And then BEC. I've got a what is this servo? Oh, this is a GT3, Shifts GT3. I was building this for Worlds in 2021, I think. Yeah, it's been a while. And Shifts was sponsoring the event, so I decided to throw that in there just as, you know, he was putting up a lot for it in support of the event, so I used his servo also in support.
At most of those comps, Ryan's very supportive of that. He's big into the comp side, and he competes as well. He's a really good driver himself.
Yeah,
Ryan has beat me multiple times. So.
Yeah. So yep, that's he's been there in a bunch. I've met him a handful of times, talked to him, you know, always good dude. So yeah, that's aren't those called cheaties? Comp on the 17th, 5%. 17th. It's a possibility. I have in a tremendous amount of work to get done at this time of year. So, but and then yeah, I've got a deluxe sporty up there. That one actually runs. The body isn't painted, but it runs and drives and it's done. So at least I can say that.
I have mine. I can go grab it.
Yeah. So, Matt hasn't tried shift servos yet. He might not. GT3 is really good servo. Run them in my H10 4-wheel steer. Nice.
So there's what's
look at that
remaining of my Sportsman.
That's a good looking rig too.
Man, this camera being reversed really throws me off.
Especially when like we're used to looking at a camera or a screen, and like we already can help. We know how to mirror our movements, and then it's mirrored here. It does screw you. I agree. But yeah, that's a good look. When I got the deluxe sporty package, it came with that body, and I absolutely immediately refused to ever run that.
I just needed a new body, and the kit came with one, and I was like, "Good enough. We're going to nationals. One color, done." So,
I couldn't do it. Could not do it.
So here's the inside of it. Again, this guy's running the revolver, and this guy as well. It's a little 380 spins around.
Yep. And now, do you have the deluxe portal trans in that one?
This one has an OD3. So these OD3, axles are straight axle.
Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah, I've got Capras in mine currently.
Yeah, so you've got the Asylum, and this one's a Lunatic.
Oh, that's right. The Lunatic's the newer version, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then they've got the. Are you gonna get into the mini game next?
Dude, their new one they have now, it makes it really tempting. And then when we went to nationals, there was like 65 minis, and I was like, I want to play. Like, yeah, it's about the competition. It's like, well, there's 65 guys. Like, let's go. Let's see who can lose the worst with the mini.
Yeah, that was always the thing. It's like you had to have it just because. And for me, when I was traveling all over for these things, like you wanted to run at least 3 classes, and supers are so much harder to travel with, and it's just like, so
yeah. And I have a super. It's stuffed in my laundry room right now. It has been for a while. I broke one of the axles on it because it's an older one with Delrin housings, and with an 8-inch wheel, it got in a bind and it just twisted my C off the axle. And I was like, guess we're done for this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, Josh, thanks for selling out the Parma. Oh, I had noticed. Yeah, the Parma, was it the Exciter? Which
Exciter? Yep.
Yeah, it popped up on A-Man. I was like, look at that. Put it in the news.
Yeah, that's one I wanted to get for a Sportsman for
sure. Josh, just buy the Alta body when you buy the La Paraloca. Is that what that body is called, the Alta body? Because I still have one around here if I need it, which I do not.
I can't remember what this one's called. It's from Lattice Innovations, but the La Paraloca is the mini. That's the name of the deluxe mini.
The crazy bitch is what it's.
Okay.
Like whenever I'm doing the news and there's like a name or something, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Let's look it up. Google Translate. I was like, oh, okay.
That's way funnier. Now I really like it because I was like,
yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Yeah, exactly. So I always have to like look, and then I was like, okay, there we go. But you know, the little things here and there, always funny. Find a fun little tidbit of a name or something.
Yep.
Opinions on the Proline Trepidor for the SCX6, $40 just said. Oh yeah, I heard that they're on sale right now. I have not ran them. I have not ran the SCX6 Trep. I know you did a cliffhanger conversion on your SCX6 and made it more performance based, right?
Yeah, I took 5 pounds off the top of it, and it drives really good.
They'll do that.
Unfortunately, I never tried the Trepidors. I really liked the Swampers I had. The Hyraxes were fine when I ran those, but just I wasn't burning through enough tires to justify continuing to buy tires and test them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And there's
you still have your SCX6?
One rig. I actually just recently let it go at Proline by the Fire, actually. So unfortunately, it ends up hanging out in my room too much, and it's just always in my way. It's always in the corner I need to get to, and I'm like, this thing's too big. It's got to go.
So I'm currently struggling with a bit of garage space issue since I've decided that I need to park in it now. So right now mine is like sitting on the bumper up and down, but I can't get rid of it. But I don't drive it very much either. So I don't know what to do.
I really enjoyed driving the truck. I just so rarely drove it.
That's
and
exactly
every time
how
I'd go drive
feel.
it, every time I'd take it out, I'd be like, man, this thing's awesome. I need to drive it more. And then I would go home and sit.
Yeah. Because it's like not the one that you're just like, oh, snag it and walk out the door with it. You got to like plan another trip to the car.
Throw it in the truck. Yeah.
You can totally get rid of it. Would you recommend a direct power servo for a trail truck? I have my take on this. Logan, what is your current take on direct power versus standard in, just call it trail talk or trail truck?
Very, very short answer. Yes, I would say so. The only thing is you cannot leave it plugged in. So if that's an issue where you'd like to turn your truck off and leave the battery in it, like Josh does.
I never leave it plugged in.
But yeah, I like my direct power servos. They work really good.
So I ran direct power quite a bit for a decent amount of time there. But I have gone back. Anymore, I don't necessarily recommend them as much. I think that in certain applications, they can definitely be like the choice I may make in a truck where I'm gonna maximize it. Like if it's a 4S rated servo and that's where it makes the most power, and I'm going to be running 4S like in a comp truck with small batteries, that can be a thing. But then there's also the issue with back, it's not back EMF. I can't remember what the low amperage batteries can
Holmes got into this and discussed it all. I don't know the terms, but I know that there was something weird about small battery packs and direct power servos. So
there's little issues back and forth, and in a lot of trucks these days, especially trail trucks, I don't necessarily run 4S as much. I run 3S in a lot of them, and if I want to get the most out of my servo at that time, then a 3S with a 3S pack, it's not going to be direct power is not going to do that. So I've been running like a lot of the smart 900s, smart 1100s, because they don't need direct power and they make a ton of power as they are. And that's been the reason that I've decided not to, for the most part lately.
Yeah, if I was building one ground up, I'd probably say BEC, but if you have a direct power, I wouldn't hesitate to use one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I definitely have them. They're in trucks that it doesn't bother me. It's just like sometimes they do. The other I had a conversation with Nabil one time and why he liked standard rather than direct power as well. And it's one of those, it's the most Nabil answer ever. But it's like, he's of course a very comp guy, he's just like, well, he doesn't like to run direct power because he wants the servo to have the same amount of power at all times throughout his run, rather than as the battery is dying in voltage, the amount of power, then decreasing along with it. It's like I like to have just the same amount. It's a pretty good answer. I like that answer.
Yep. Yeah, and you talk with Ryan at Shifts, he'll give you the breakdown on the same kind of thing too.
Sure, but brown shoes, black shoes. There's some people like brown. Hard Park has a 4S 200 milliamp battery. I use them in my comp truck to run just the servo. Man,
200 is small. That's really small.
Well, that's about what I run in my. I run his 200 milliamp 3S in my micros, but I have no interest in forgetting to charge a second battery or leaving yet another battery in another one of my trucks. So
yeah, I'm actually a weirdo in the comp crawler thing because I run big batteries.
Oh,
big batteries, a 700 milliamp. Yeah,
okay.
that's big. But I can run 2 courses and not even hesitate to do it.
So
and it saved me on a time or two.
There is times that I'll run an 850 at times in my comp trucks. And yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, it gives me that little bit of sag protection. The size sits fine. I've got lots of the 450s as well, but the 850s at times, I'm just like, this is what or in like the buggies. The buggies, I like to run like an 850, 1100, like 1300 be great at times, but because it's the buggies, like I like to go drive those more, like rather than comp trucks. I really only drive in comp situations. So where the buggies, I can go drive a buggy and just sit on a rock and play in a little spot for a few hours.
And if people enjoy watching someone do that, I have a whole lot of videos where I do that. So just so people know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that is, you make a lot of the running videos, and I don't make much running video anymore. Usually like when I do end up going out and run, I usually just like to go do that and then have fun.
I can totally understand when you get the opportunity of just like, you know what, I just want to enjoy this,
Yeah.
So I don't blame you there, especially where you have more limited time of the times you're able to go. Because there's definitely times where when I go out with my friends, I usually just like to enjoy it. A lot of people will ask me like, oh, can I be in a video or whatever? And usually it's just like, I really like to be alone when I film stuff.
Oh yeah, like I don't want to talk in front of you while I'm filming. Like I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, that still happens for sure. I don't like to talk in front of people.
No, me.
Let me act like there's an audience over there and talk to myself for 30 seconds. Okay, I'll be back.
I'm just like if I'm around people and I'm videoing, you can tell I'm like quieter. I'm like, so, yeah, it's it was even weird when doing live video at work, because in live video, it's like I'm sitting there talking to him at a desk and we're just like kind of bullshit, and then we hit live. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, what are you doing? Like, calm down.
I could totally see that with Jim, because Jim, I guarantee, is the same on and off camera. It doesn't affect him.
Hard to understand a little bit, and
but whether the camera's pointed at him or not, he is Jim. I can see
that. We've had to teach him things that he can and can't say, but he's much better these days. I'm taking that video down. Oh, okay.
I do enjoy the Vanquish live stream though. That's always fun.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's it's a fun. It is a fun break, even though it is like some days like we'll be in the middle of it, putting fires out, and it's like, yo, it's Tuesday. You guys said you wanted this. We're doing it, and we're not missing one. So
yeah, that's
your game face.
We're not missing one. That's a Josh thing for sure.
Yeah,
that's why this stream has gone on for 4.5 years straight.
Yeah, we said we're doing this. We're doing it. We're not missing a week. I don't care if most of us are gone. Find somebody else to do it. But
I really try not to miss a Monday upload. I really push for that. During the summer, it's a little harder when it's hot. I don't film as much, but I always try and get at least a Monday upload. Typically, I do a Monday, Thursday. So
the other day, did you make a post about it or what? Oh no, maybe it was just on a live stream. You were talking about getting some non-crawler stuff.
Yeah, it was in this live stream last week, and apparently that's been set into motion. Not even by me, so we're gonna start building something. I called Cody at Sky RC. It's my local hobby shop in St. George.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, I think I want to do this and this. And I think it'd be really cool. What do you think about it? And he's like, that would be pretty cool. He's like, I'm gonna sponsor you the body. And he called me today. He's like, hey, that body showed up. And I was like, I haven't got anything else. I'm like, well, I guess we're going for it. So, and I've changed the idea a little bit with it, but I think it's gonna be a pretty cool one. It's not going to be something I go run a lot. It's going to be more of like a build series for my channel. And then if
that's what I was wondering, because
it'll look cool.
It's a very different, like, have you know, compared to like, what are you going to, how are you going to do it in the same way? It's going to have to be, just that build series style, right?
I'm really, I don't know if I want to talk about it or not, because it's not that hard to build. And I know that somebody in here will be like, dude, I'm building one of those.
No,
so I'm wondering if I just want to have it show up one day and then people can copy it.
That's probably good. Yeah. I did the squatted F450. And I still get rude comments about that from time to time.
I'm not a squatted guy, but when you started working on that, and like I watched the progression of like, this is a joke, this will be silly and funny, and then it turned out squatted. And knowing that it was a joke, I enjoyed it a lot more. I was like, oh, that is kind of funny. And it did work really good.
That was easy. I guess we're done.
Yeah. But you didn't set out to be like, I'm going to build this squatted truck. Like,
no. Look, unlike the world's heaviest TRX4. But other than that, that was also very clearly a joke. I would thought.
Maybe you should put a brick oven on the TRX4. That would help.
If I burned that battery down, it would leave a hole in my slab.
People are going to think a Tesla's on fire.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I guess Logan's building an F-250, right?
No, it's not a CEN.
Ooh, I like it. Even better. The brass 2020 Bronco was, oh my God, it's so ridiculous. It's still also in the garage, but like that's another one. Like, how do you sell that truck?
The live stream, say this is for sale. This is a whole audience of people who would be interested.
I think it has to go truck freight though for like the like
selling the battery would be tough.
It's got a battery tray that's the size of a dinner plate, like, and it's a carbon fiber battery tray because of weight. And
you take up a stainless steel tray for it now. There you go.
Yeah, right. I know. Now I'm definitely ready to TIG more stainless, but I've been working on the Rockabilly lately.
Dude, that thing's awesome. Big fan.
It's coming along really well. So got the front engine done this last weekend. Been working on the rear battery and like fuel cell type setup on this one. So it's I'm working on a toolless type design where I can just kind of reach in there and it'll have an actual clip. So I need to finish my Tie Pro as well because it's sitting right there.
Watching your video of the engine, I was really curious how that would fit in this guy, and that would be very interesting to me. Because I would love to
in that, or is it a full size?
It's a full size, but I can do whatever I got to do.
If it was a stubby, it would probably work.
Because my real car has a 3.9 in it.
Oh, does it?
I think you're the first one to do a 3D 3.9 that I've seen.
As far as I know. And yeah, bolting right up to a VFD makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that fit in there pretty well. I'm super happy with how that turned out, and tried to do the exhaust like he did on the full size with it wrapping around the front side, in front of the pulleys. It's like, okay, not how I would normally have thought, but I mean, and
I've seen another shop do that, and from what I heard, it ended up causing issues with the pulleys on the engine. But that might be dependent on the engine. I don't know,
or how they're driving. No idea, but so yeah, this has been most of my focus lately. I'm really looking forward to getting this done. I actually don't have a ton left to do on it other than the hood, a couple of more interior details, panels in general, and then it'll be in pretty good shape. So
let's get a closer look at that interior. I saw you did the little levers and the scale bolts.
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks really good.
Which is funny. It's
Everything's
funny
backwards.
Exactly. Well, it's because now I'm looking at it's hard to see. But I've got the dash that I've got to detail out a little bit more. You can kind of see some holes in it at the meantime, but that's for some other details. I'm going to do some floorboards and stuff to kind of enclose that a little bit more, but try and keep it, detailed enough, but not get ridiculous to work on, because working on buggies can suck.
Oh man, in this Tie Pro, I lost an E-clip in my VFD, and like that's where the build of the truck starts. Is like, put your transmission in, now put everything else on, and so when it's time to take it out, you're like, oh, everything comes off. Cool. So, yeah. And then I open it up and it's just one E-clip. I'm like, you kidding me? Like, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. So trying to keep it serviceable is something I try and think about when I, sometimes it's just like, well, this is going to kind of suck, but
that's the same way in the real cars too, because their goal is to hide everything for visibility, and so they stuff it all into these little places. And like the clearances on my car are crazy. Like one of my bolts on my transfer case sits like a 1/4 inch above one of the cross tubes in the bottom, and it's like, if you have to do anything to this thing, you got to pull the whole drivetrain up to work on it. It's crazy.
That when we were doing full size We Rock, and it was, you get back from an event, you got a nut and bolt check, or if God forbid you broke a doubler or something ridiculous, like we were like, okay, how do we make this not suck next time? Like, how about we just Zeus the whole floor in? Like, done. Start with that. Cut a hole. Like, there's so many things. It's just like, oh, if I ever have to get in here again, I'm going to absolutely. When you know how much it's going to suck, it makes it suck so much worse.
Yeah. So this year during Trail Hero, there's a group chat that I talk with the local guys, and I just throw out an invite. Hey guys, going out at night. Our buddy's going to be out on the trail. 6 to 7 of them are like, don't go night wheeling. Nothing good happens at night. And repeatedly, nothing good happens at night. I'm like, oh, you guys, whatever. So I go cruising out there. I'm on my way to the trail. I'm still in the sand. My engine fan dies. So then my temp just starts spiking, and I'm like, oh, crap. So I stop. I get out of the car, and it's covered in Zeus fasteners, and then it's got Phillips head hardware to hold the panels on to check fuses. I start looking around my car. I have nothing. I'm just dead in the water. And I'm like, I guess nothing good happens at night. Like 5 minutes into this and just done. And I was like, crap. But ultimately, my friends came down the trail, and then I had every panel on my car off in the sand in the dark, trying not to lose every little screw. My seats are all out of like things tore apart in the sand, which is totally not ideal. But hardwire the fan, turn the battery switch on, fan turns on, party time. And then we went and got stuck in a crack for 2 hours. So, but it was a great night.
Great night. Yeah, it was the best.
It's the best story I have. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was, oh God. It's like, how do you guys have fun working on one rock for 45 minutes? Like, you don't understand. Until somebody breaks a drive shaft, and then you're there for 2 more hours. But the night wheeling is almost all I do. Wheel Toyota exclusively. I get it though. Toyotas, you don't want people to see while you drive them, things like, I get it. It makes
I love the Toyota guys, man. I love a raisin Toyota, my favorite truck.
Oh, just beat on the rev limiter at all times.
Yeah.
First low. Like,
they rev up, nothing happens visually.
Yeah.
They're like, I forklift it. Toyota swapped it. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. That smell. Something about those propane Toyotas is just.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a party until it isn't. Yeah, that seems about right. That's why I love toy trucks.
It's owning a real one and the toy trucks at the same time, like there's times where I'm like, man, I really like the RC stuff. Like when this truck, the transmission went out, I was like, guess I'm going home, and I just picked the truck up and I'm out. And or I'm gonna go get my other truck and then I'll be right back.
Yeah. So it was, it's one of those things like when we would comp most of the time in V-Rock, if something broke, if it was in like a bad spot, they'd just like go get the excavator and lift the truck out and then set it down. Like, okay, we'll fix it over there. You're on the trail buried somewhere and you like got to go back into town and get something and come. It's like spent all weekend and went 3 miles.
Now they do have carnage welders, which are really cool. It's essentially a welder in like a little Pelican box, like super rad.
We had a Hobart one back in the, like this was like 15 years ago. It was a Hobart that ran off of a couple of batteries and trail welder basically.
And they make alternators that can create enough power to do it and stuff. There's some cool trail fixes out there.
Things have, like everything has progressed so much more, and parts, and you don't have to exactly do as much hand stuff as you used to. Now you can build a pretty nice trail rig much more reasonably than.
What's really impressive is seeing like what the portal cars can take, like the stress that they go through, dude. Like it's amazing. I've put my car in some stupid spots and it just keeps going. Like it's amazing. And then what I've seen other people do that like really don't care, you're like, ooh, like just watching that axle, you're like, how is it not folding right now? And then it'll just pop out the other side. Oh
yeah. It is hard to watch that stuff sometimes and just like, oh, when is it gonna, or what's gonna pop?
Yeah.
The full size rigs are I do enjoy watching them though. There's something about it, like everything else. But, Josh, you should get a full size rig. I'm in an amazing area, not quite as optimal as Logan to be able to just drive out the door, but still, like I would need a very different setup to the point where I was ready.
What's the tow capacity on the old C7?
Yeah, it's probably about the same as my Gladiator was. So
that's fair.
Yeah. So probably not something I'm gonna dive into anytime soon again. I didn't hate it, but
I did compete in my first We-Rock event at Trail Hero.
Yeah, really I saw that.
Which was it was more fun than I thought it was going to be. Like I was excited, and then I started driving, and I was like, dude, I'm having a lot of fun.
It is quite an adrenaline rush. It's like 10 minutes for 4 gates. Like, okay, and then that 10 minutes flies by, and stuff starts getting wild. I saw you, bump a ledge pretty hard with the old portal car there. Was that was that just adrenaline getting to you? And like, I'm gonna do it.
I had watched another car do it, and it was a portal car with a 3.9 in it, and I was like, I have the same thing. My car can do that too. So like, I just have to make it do it. And so we took a bunch of time to try and get set up for it, and then stack some rocks. And I took a bump, and it was an aggressive bump, and it didn't quite work. And so I just backed up, and I was like, let's go again, dude. And just second gear, floor it, smash the belly just enough to get the car to do that. And then it popped the rears up and landed at the top. Luckily, I didn't hit a cone. And then I was just like, all right, let's go. And then 2 minutes left. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, I wasted 5 minutes on this one bonus gate.
Yeah.
So
that was the thing. And I enjoyed the We-Rock stuff so much because I spotted. I didn't drive. But it felt just like RC car, because you're just telling somebody. There was just a delay between saying go left and it actually going left. But
the problem is when you say go left and it doesn't go left, and you're like, go left.
Yeah, like I'm trying. Like, oh, okay. I couldn't tell.
I spotted for a guy for a year, and he wasn't the greatest listener. It was just like, hey man, I can tell that you need to do this, and he's like, okay, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing instead. And I was like, all right, I told you what I think it needs.
There's still a delay with Matt. Yeah. More left.
You can't park there.
Yeah. You have to keep going. Stopping. Like,
But what's funny is, from my perspective, watching you and Matt drive, almost every call, I'm like, Josh is right. It's what it needs. Like, he's a good spotter. He'll tell you what you need to do.
It's so much fun. I mean, I have just as much fun with it on I probably have more fun with it on RC because it's less picking up rocks. It's that was we were in stock mod, so 35s, DOT tires, no stickies, and it was with a Geo tracker most of the time. So,
ooh, there you go.
Right?
So, was it a 90-inch wheelbase?
Yeah, I think you were able to go like plus or minus 4 inches from factory. So I think it was like 92 or 94, somewhere right in there when it was done. But and it was, it was a front, solid axle swapped, obviously, with like a 44 center, 9-inch outers, and 9-inch center, 44 outers, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. But it was just the problem was like we had everything seated so low, so that when the driver was in it, he couldn't see anything. So it was all just listen to what they're saying, because I don't know. Okay. When it's up, you got nothing. You can barely see left or right. So yeah, that was stock wheel. This was a 2-door tracker, not the 4-door tracker. I think a 4-door might have been 97, because I'm pretty sure that this car was like an 89-inch wheelbase.
And for reference, my Buggy is 111.
Is it 111?
Yep.
111, 114, that range there seems to be pretty popular these days. And that was so long when we were, I mean, even buggies, regular buggies were like 104, 102, 104. Now we have 111.
Well, I went out wheeling with my buddy who has a double cab Tacoma that he just solid axle swap. It's on 1 tons. It's a killer truck. And he's out there. He's like, "What's your wheelbase?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm 28 inches longer than that." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you'll reach, no problem." He's at the bottom and the top at the same time.
Tom Bajak, thank you. Until I went full hydro, my spotter always thought I was ignoring him when I was fighting the hydro assist.
There you just.
There we go. Oh, it was 86 then. Okay, so I think then we were 90. I think we were right at 90 inches. Like, yep. Cooper STT discovers, and
just good old all-terrain.
Yep. It's just I did like a Grand Vitara aluminum engine swap in it. Went to a 2-liter rather than the stock 1.6.
Like a 30% gain. Yeah.
It was huge. Oh my God. What are we going to do with all this?
Oh man, that's funny.
What's the weight of your buggy?
So I don't have an
6.
That's really close. It's going to be somewhere 36 to 38, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what
I've got a third seat in the back, but it also has 400 to 500 pounds of water in the front tires.
Yeah,
so that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah, like 300 pounds per front tire was kind of the norm back in the day.
Yeah, if you fill them, they are. I'm not quite full. I'm to the top of my hub, which I'm actually thinking about. I'm thinking about draining a little bit out.
So you're running water.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot
makes a huge difference in those.
Oh, we ran water in those, but a lot of guys were running lead shot, and running more.
Water's a lot easier to manage as far as you can put more in it very easily anywhere, or you can let some out whenever you need to, and you're not losing anything.
Yeah. Smells so bad though.
It's the same exact concept of brass weights in the front of your RC.
Right.
Another thing that's really interesting is the full size guys are finally catching on to Overdrive. I think I'm one of the last local guys not running Overdrive, and that's because I haven't had a reason to pull my differential apart yet. Basically, once it explodes, I'll probably swap to Overdrive.
How much are they running?
It's usually 1 gear split, which is around 7 to 10%, depending on which gears you have. But Caleb Fredden was one of the weird ones who ran. I think it mapped out to like 21%. Like he was running a real amount of overdrive in his car, but he also pulls off some wild stuff. Now it's hard to say where Caliph ends and where the overdrive begins, but it can't hurt.
That's always the question, right? It's like what driver versus this, and you go to one place versus another, and that amount of overdrive can absolutely change a car in the full size world with the weight. Some places were wild slick rock, and other places were so grippy it was hard to turn the tires. But James Watt also never drove a buggy. Good old Watts link, Buck Dandy. What size ring gears? You have 9-inch or?
I have the little guys. I have the Toyota differentials.
Toyota disc, yep. You running e-lockers or?
I've got a Grizzly locker in the front, so it's under torque it locks, and then in the rear I have an ARB, so I can select when I want it on and off. And so the advantage to that is that I can disengage my rear locker. I have cutting brakes, so I can control my left caliper or my right caliper. And so if I want to turn sharper left, I'll grab the left rear tire, and it will force the outer to spin, and then it will lock up the left so it pivots around. And it works. I've seen it work plenty of times.
I would like if we could have functional cutting brakes in our scale at our size of, optimal size.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want diffs the size of a Traxxas diff to have to do it and things like that. It's just like, if we could just get it and have the differential be strong enough and all that. Did you ever look at those axles that I had showed them a little bit on the news at one point?
For the Element truck? Was that what it was for?
You showed them on an Element truck, but they didn't really have much Element in them.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, and it was like a torque vectoring. I was like, what is it? And then like the size of the axles was what was absolutely unreasonable. But it's just like, man, it would be so cool if we could have a electromagnetic functioning diff at our scale. And
that's not a bad idea. Bad way to go about it.
One day.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Just because going from the full size stuff, it's really cool to see. And it is kind of like fringe areas where it's actually needed to pull the thing off, but it's cool to have the option. That's what I like most about it.
I mean, it's even just, it'd be interesting to see. Actually, I'm going to start a poll. How do you currently own a truck that has dig? Because I think that's like the first step towards that type of, and having dig is one of my most favorite things. And if I drive it in a trail truck, regular trail truck, just having a dig in there, I'll use it all the time, and I love it because it completely changes how you can drive things and drop. Even if you're just going down a trail and you want to go down a super steep thing, throw it in dig and just drag the rear tires or fun little turn around something. It's just so much fun, but so many people don't. It's like, I don't care about that. I want a 2-speed. A little piece of me just dies every time someone's like, oh no, I like it. I want a 2-speed.
Yeah, and so this buggy, I can see it on the left side of the camera. This buggy, I have dig in the front and the rear, so that's been super fun.
You built that one as 4-wheel steer. I couldn't remember.
This guy's got rear steer.
Yeah, the having rear dig, I do really enjoy, as long as it's on a 4-wheel steer.
I see a lot of people wanting to get it on drag axles, and I'm like, if you want to see the real benefits, you got to get a rear steer truck.
Yeah, if it's on with a regular, drag axle or 2-wheel steer type truck, having rear dig, I'm just like, nah, not worth it. I don't need the extra stuff in the car. I don't I'll take the benefits of the strength of a transmission that only has a single dig instead, or use the other functionality, as the selectable overdrive, whatever. So but if you get in a 4-wheel steer car with rear dig, it's a whole different world of things.
Yeah, I've been out crawling with Wyatt, and I've got the rear dig in my car, and he really wants one. He just built an amazing Trooper capper. It has front dig and it works really, really good. But just for no reason at all, we'll be sitting in a line. I'll just start rear dig and start doing donuts, and he's just like, just showing off. He's like, you're just doing that because you can. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it. Which he just started a YouTube. It's just like his Instagram name, YET. And he put up a first run of that Super Capra. He put a full SCX Pro drivetrain in it. He did like a front motor mount in a buggy. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, he had it
crazy in designing. Yeah. And definitely check out his YouTube channel. I'm excited for him to start making some content.
Yep. No, it will be good. Let's see. Josh, you look, this is the size we always are. It's just Logan is in a different scale currently. Trust me, you should have seen before I made him change his camera before we started the show. I was like, you gotta change that. It's like, you look like this big next. He was right here, just at this height. And he was I was like, yeah, we gotta change that. But yeah, I got my H10 back the other day.
I was about to ask you about that.
So it is back. I forgot that Matt also put lights in it until just a second.
The taillights are sweet. I like the taillights.
Yeah, I'm glad that he lit that up for me. That was also nice.
Thanks for you to just take care of that for me real quick.
Yeah, go ahead and knock out some of those little pesky things that I hate doing, like painting an interior. Ugh. So now I get it back and I can do all of the fun stuff again. That's all just performance and the theme. That's it. I really got the best of both worlds here. So I'm very happy that I got my truck back. Most importantly.
I'm also a little suspicious how Matt has called the last 3 spins perfectly from the beginning. Like, I watched the live stream at the beginning and he's like, oh yeah, we're definitely getting swapped trucks again. And like, it happens and you're like,
you have to spin for Matt tonight. I'm a
little concerned about this. Like, if I have to make you do something, I don't remember what all the options are left, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to make Josh do.
Even better. I think you I totally forgot about this. It's camera to Logan, not Logan. So I have to go. All right, I think that the wheel is even still in the right configuration. Look at that. This is great timing because we're right at 7 o'clock as well. Share that. I'll go there.
Timu uninstall, design your own parts, spend double the money.
Yeah. Okay, hold please.
Steal or spin again. Wasn't that done before?
No, not that one. So this is this allows you will get to choose if you like, if that was to, I don't know if you're calling your shot, but if you got that, you get to choose whether you wanted what I got or if you want to go ahead and just spin again and see what the
I'm gonna call out. I'm gonna call out as Matt. Will it steer? That's my call.
Okay. I can't remember who went first last time. If somebody can remember in the chat, that would be fantastic. That would be a big help.
I remember the conversation of who went first, but I don't remember who went first.
I don't remember how it actually ended up.
Well, so, who spun to lose the trucks? It was Matt.
No, it was me. Matt got change wheels. And so he went first. So I have to go first this time.
Okay. Science. We're detectives now.
Exactly. All right. So this is for this week's episode. We didn't do one this week. So Matt's like, hey, we didn't actually spin. How are we doing an episode? I was like, that's a good point. So we didn't do an episode this week.
Are you recording your stream? I know you've forgotten to do that before.
That is true. But now with StreamYard, it is just always banked.
All right, cool.
So, lucky for me. All right, here we go. Spinning for my episode. As long as it wasn't Timu. Hey, look at that. Oh.
So close.
Okay.
So here's the thing. You don't even know.
I don't know. So I guess I'm going to make you spin, and then I'm going to decide if I want that or if I'm going to spin again.
I have no idea how this is supposed to work, but
I don't either. I'm making up the rules as I go. That's fine. Matt's not here.
Hey, I'll take that. All right.
You know what? The thing, I am not, even as much as people would imagine that I was going to steal that, here's the thing. I don't want to steal that because I put that speaker box in the back of Matt's truck, which takes up all of the room for where the dig servos were.
All right.
So I'm going to let Matt have to figure that out. And I think that is the best possible outcome for this week.
I'm sure that Matt will need one of these very shortly.
Yeah,
VFD
exactly.
dig unit. So there you go. Mail call.
Matt doesn't have room for that. Oh, isn't that fantastic? So
better have to let that Dremel get away from him then.
I know. Oh, he's going to cut a hole in my speaker box. Damn it. Or he's going to ask me to make a design around it. I shoe-glued that shit in there pretty good. Give me carbon fiber.
Yeah. Oh, it did.
I thought I was going to. I know.
You got that by a pixel.
I know. Go. The perfect outcome for this week. Matt should be gone more often.
The wheel has spoken.
Oh, I'm so pleased with how this has gone.
I'm good with that too. I think Will It Dig is perfectly fine for me.
I know, right? Who would argue with that until Matt has to figure out how to make it fit? Serves Matt
Macro
right.
servos, Matt.
Yeah, I think that's praise wheel. Josh doing Matt dirty. Oh, I'm so excited to tell him what his result will be. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to be back on this. I feel like it knew that he was going to be gone. Hard to argue. All the real nasty stuff is gone. That is true. Although there is still Temu is still on there. Uninstall, new to you as a brand, remove Shako. There's still some things on there that suck, but the true evil, I agree, is gone. So
this is Sydney. She's been called many names, but this is Sydney.
Yeah, another YouTuber that goes by many names that she did not apply for.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was thank Casey girl for 6 months member. Thank you. I was late. No, Matt again. Are you guys getting divorced? Logan, it's an acceptable step.
Hey, I'll take that. All right.
Yeah. Matt is at some sort of other professional thing he has to do tonight. I think it was like the Canadian advertising Emmys. So
meanwhile, us non-professionals can sit here and talk about RCs.
I play with RC cars during the day, and then I talk about them at night, and then I go to bed, and then I do it again. So, you know, he's filming flying cars too. That's exactly
right. Driving boats.
Yeah. He had so many electric boogaloo. He had come up with plenty.
Driving planes, as that was one of them.
Staying late at work is how divorce happened. Yeah, he did not tell me that he would be able to make any part of tonight's show. And since last week I was too busy and didn't arrange anything ahead of time, I was like, okay. As soon as he told me, I pinged Logan and was just like, hey.
I got to give Josh credit here. This is the earliest invitation I've gotten to the stream. I got a full day advance warning. I was like, oh, wow. I had to check my account. I was like, is today Wednesday?
I'm pretty sure it was a Monday even.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's pretty good for me. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I thought I had some mail call that I was going to go over. I said that I was going to do that, and then I did.
We did talk about that about 40 minutes ago. Yep.
Yeah, you had stuff, and I had things that I thought I remembered but don't. could have swore I even brought it in here. I'll remember as soon as the show's over. I'm sure of it. That's unfortunate.
All right.
Dang it.
There you go.
I know it was important too, and that was the thing. I was like, I hate that.
Send Cut Send seems like you always have something from Send Cut Send.
Yeah, I know. I haven't ordered anything from there in like a week.
That's a little weird.
I know. They're probably going to send me an email, see if I'm okay. Well, I will say that I am happy to see this result. In the poll that we started, 71% currently own a truck that has dig.
Cool.
I'm quite happy to hear that.
I'm betting Phoenixes, and
that's true.
I mean, a Capra has a dig. I don't know how many people still have dig in their Capra.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how many people still have a Capra transmission in their Capra. Can Logan show the ding dong truck?
He's
nope.
Right over there.
There it is.
This damn camera, dude. Yes. So this body was painted by my friend Jason at Bonehead RC. This was done just before Pro Am by the Fire. And I have a video where I show Matt and Josh for the first time in person the ding dong truck, which they're a little concerned, and that's justifiable. I get it. And I come up holding this thing with a sweater wrapped over it, and I was like, take the sweater off. And you guys are like, should we do this? And I was like, it's fine, don't worry. But yeah, so ding dong truck. This one has Capra axles. No surprise there. Rear steer as well. This is my class 3 performance truck, essentially. And then it's got the Rock Pirates Rum Runner chassis, which is their new super aggressive performance chassis. So it's got a very forward, very angled skid. And this one's in silver carbon fiber. So this thing's extremely capable. Real quick, it's got a deluxe Nod 2 transmission, 540M revolver, deluxe cut-to-length drive shafts, and then my cut and shuts on it.
What's the wheelbase on that? Like 13 and change?
Yeah, this one's a little bit over, so it's around 13.3-ish, somewhere in there.
Yep.
But it's got crazy breakover, so it works out really good.
Right. How do you like the where are you running your buggies on wheelbase right now?
Very similar. They're usually in the 13 to 13.3-ish range. I think the Tie Pro's a little longer. It might be the 13.4. But
okay. Yeah. The currently the Rockabilly, the Pro Mod, I'm building that short, 12.6. But 2-wheel steer, drag axle, whatever you want to call it, straight axle. So I felt like on that one, I was like, I'm gonna keep that a little bit shorter. I feel like I do want to build another one of these on some H10s just because I love that style. And then whether or not I go 4-wheel steer, I wouldn't mind building another one with F10 portals front and rear because I do love 4-wheel steer.
Yes, I remember last week you were talking about Johnny Rocha and how Randall was his buddy. I did go wheeling with Johnny and Randall together, and at the time Johnny had his red dot, so I was out there in my Razor and I was following around a red dot and Randall in his Jeep. So, but he's a good dude. It's because of Randall I bumped into him, so that all makes sense now.
Yeah, it's like I had called. Actually, I had not told that full story, but it was because I had initially called Randall when this base camp showed up, and I was like, "Hey, Randall, I got a box in the mail, and I got no idea why. Like, I had no information on this. Like, when, what, when, things like that." He goes, "I don't know anything about it either. Not my project." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll find out who else to call." He's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." And then we started talking about buggies. And
I can still hear Randall say that too. Not my project. I don't know anything about
it. Actually, at the time, he said, "What scale is it?" I was like, "The 110." Yeah, said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not mine." And the 124th came out like 2 days later. I was like, "Oh."
Gotcha.
Okay. So,
which internally on the 24 scale side, this would be a really interesting poll. Is they were talking about whether they should or shouldn't do a pink truck. And my vote was like, absolutely. I'm confident that pink will do well. I'm not the pink person, but there are a lot of RC guys that are, and I'm like, man, if you make a pink 24 scale, that thing's going to sell. And from what I understand, it is. It's doing well from what I've heard. So,
and especially 124 scale, because like you want to get, that's one where you may go get one for all of the kids, and you want to be, you want everyone to have the one that they think might be the best for them, whoever that may be. So like having that selection in that scale, especially because that's a car where I think you will easily see multiples leaving with one person. So I think that, also a great choice. I remember I had talked about the Red Cat when it came out, the Ascent in pink. And Randall had sent me a message like, hey, you better talk about my pink one when it comes out. I'm like, be more specific, sir.
What are we talking about here, Randall?
Yeah. But it was, I was like, oh, that's cool to see. And the base camp style I think even works better on that 124 scale than the 110 scale personally.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think that it's a really good looking 124 scale. This latest base camp I think looked better than the first one. I think they made some good changes.
A little more complete looking.
Yeah, I think the side windows on that one are a little funky looking. So adding some stuff to that truck I think did help. And adding 5 more pounds helped a bunch more too.
As a stand-in for Matt, I must say I really enjoyed Matt's choice of putting the roof rack on there. I thought that was a good way to go with that. Reusing what was there, and I thought it looked good.
It did look good, actually, and that is a very Matt decision to be like, oh yeah, me, I'm just like taking stuff off. I'm like, I get to weld. That's all I want to do.
I don't care if it burns to the ground. We're putting bricks on it.
We're welding something, putting bricks on it, and you got to put a butane gas bottle in here. That is the one other tricky part about this.
Just screaming at Nicole from the garage. Where's my jet oil?
Yeah. Oh no, we had to make a trip for that as well. I was like, hey, we got to run here, and I had the Targa off the car at the time. I was like, hey, can you stay in the car? I got to run in. Yes.
Stay here. Watch the car.
Watch the car. This thing. Let's see. 2 more pins. See if I can do this.
Were those pins in the factory location on the rear, or did you have to modify it?
So the whole thing comes off there, and then it's a kit.
That's pretty simple,
right? Like I made a nice little thing, worked out fine off of my 3D scan, except I was a little off and I had it a little low, so I did have to hit the motor plate with the 1/4 inch die grinder to take off one of those little nubs. No big deal. But yeah, beyond that, we're still on our first bottle of gas, and I had to make 1 hole in the body there. No big deal. So
that's next to the snorkel. Probably wouldn't notice.
I know. I'm actually surprised. That was not a planned location in any way. I was just like, see if that works.
Yeah, I was watching you design that part on top of the transmission. I was like, what is he putting on top of the transmission? Like, this is very weird. And I was like, oh, okay, nice. That worked out good. I was like, the cab's over it and everything. That actually works out really good.
I was like, the only way I knew is like, I set that little jet boil gas thing on there, and I like just took the body and put it back over there, and I kind of moved it around. I was like, yeah, it'll fit. Good enough. Let's go.
If it can wiggle, there's room. Yeah.
Tony, thank you. I'm grabbing that sound bite. Just the part who said that's a real good looking 124 scale. Tony, do you still play with toy trucks? I keep joining the live streams, watching you guys, and you're just like, I haven't had any time to play with toys. Just saying. Be great on my Roadcaster so I can pull it up whenever I want. all of your little soundbite buttons. Very funny.
I'm starting Atlas out on 1/10, so he has no interest in 1/24. So it's just straight to the good stuff.
Exactly. Like I just comp them. That's totally acceptable because that's all I do with them as well. 1/24 scale comp life, I'm here for, because more competition, the better. And that's did it taste like gas? Not at all. Not at all.
It shouldn't.
I mean, the Uncrustable, I might have cranked the heat on a little high at first. Oh, whoops. But this was I think there's a cooking term for seared.
Yeah, right? There you go.
Chef.
Sear or broil, either way.
I think broil's indirect. I don't know.
Caught it on fire is another chef term. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Open flame.
Char broiled. We're back at Burger King. So.
Send that truck to Tony. He's the one who needs it.
Yeah. You can make your Whoppers at home, Tony. Flame broiled. Yeah.
What are some of your opinions on Matt's build? How he just put the whole stove in the bed of the truck?
Every time Matt and I decide to do one of these challenges, Matt comes up with a way to just simplify it. And I'm just like, and in the end, like his final product, like always looks better than mine. Always. Like there's never a time. Like I'll have hours in design and sheet metal and TIG welding and brick masonry. And he's like, I cut a hole and made a trim ring. Then I went to bed and I got up and I went for a hike, a jog. I'm like, I haven't slept in 3 days. Next day, ordering parts on Amazon. I'm waiting for the truck to pull up.
But then Matt ate a hot dog on camera. So who's the real winner here? You know what I mean? Like, it had to have been there. I didn't look, but it had to have been a mouth of hot dog, not hot dog.
I know. We should go back and investigate. Yeah, Matt has a life. I know. It's Nicole's like, you gonna come to bed tonight? I'm like, no time. No time. I gotta
cook Uncrustables in the backyard.
You don't understand. We have a deadline. We're gonna lose the shop. So
yeah.
There's ever been a more Discovery Channel moment. And then Nicole's the one freaking me out. She's like, you don't have enough bricks. You need more bricks. I'm like, oh crap. You gotta order more bricks? Okay. I went to Home Depot or Lowe's to get, because I needed to figure out how to put the bricks onto the thing, right? And I was looking at like just regular like PL construction adhesives, and I was looking at the temperature ranges, like, well, that's just not gonna do. And
the whole thing turns to goo.
Well, that was my thought. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and all the bricks are just gonna go pink, 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 pink. Like, I found this like Imperial brick mortar adhesive for repairing fireplaces and things like that. It's basically, it looks like mortar, but it's an adhesive and it's safe to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm like, that's exactly what I need. Went there and
there we go. There we go.
You do two
totally
thumbs
unprompted.
It gives you the, I don't have them on. Damn it. That's what I get.
Where am I at? So ridiculous.
Lasers. But I was in, and I'm like talking to them like, hey, I need this. And they're just like, I don't think that we have that. I'm like, it says you do right here. They're like, I've never, so like we're in that aisle. And they're just like, nah, we definitely don't. I'm like, it says right here that you have 5 of them. And then someone's just like, oh, we have a fireplace aisle. And I go over there and there's just like the fireplace boxes, and on one of the pallet racks, there's just 5 tubes of this just sitting there. I'm like grab one. It's like ridiculously expensive.
Had to pull the old Ron Swanson. I know more than you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you have in inventory.
Yeah. Like, oh, why couldn't it just tell me where to go like Home Depot does?
C3 or whatever.
Yeah. And it's so nice. Yeah. With 8 inches of dust. Pretty close. It was ridiculous. But everything went as planned throughout most of the build. I think that I'm pretty happy with how it actually went in the end. That was all I could hope for, because it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it's like, well, we got close, and that's all it. Matt definitely beat me as always in videography and Blair Witch references. He was just like, yeah. Oh, and also, Matt didn't own a tent before. He got that tent for the video.
He got it for the video to have it make a 15-second appearance.
Yeah.
Because like I saw him put a couple poles together, and that was it. That was the whole reference. He's like, that was worth buying an entire tent for.
I know. Yeah. I'm just like, are you?
Them going through all the trees and stuff. I think this would be a good spot. Pans over to the house. It was my backyard.
It was.
His neighbors are like, "What's the weird guy doing again?"
I know. I didn't set one up in the backyard either.
You didn't pretend that you did. Yeah.
He didn't even mention it. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm setting up my tent." Of course.
Yeah.
My ridiculously expensive jacket. But
I do own a tent, and actually, it's my wife who likes to go tent camping. I'm now on the fan of I'm going to use my enclosed trailer and put up a cot in that with no insulation or anything, but I want hard walls. I grew up in like RVs and stuff, so I know what camping can be like, and I'm a fan of that. So having a stove or, cookies or whatever.
There's a number of times Nicole and I have discussed the like camping or getting a travel trailer, things like that. And she's like, if in any single year we spend more money on hotels than it would cost us to own a camper, we can talk about it. Never once. I was like, it's a reasonable argument. I will accept you.
For a couple RC events, I've actually rented a trailer. It's basically like Airbnb for trailers. And it's not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than owning a trailer. So spend a couple $100 for the weekend.
Drop it off.
It's delivered. I send them a pin. I say, I want it here. And I show up and there's a trailer sitting there.
Well,
all right. You have to learn the quirks of the trailer, which that's always a fun experience. But
each one's a little different, right? How the bathroom door latches, or how you actually turn the shower on.
Or what doesn't work. And you're trying to get it to work, and they're just like, "Oh, that doesn't work." And you're like,
"Right,
no, okay,
sweet." Yeah, that's Nicole is the voice of reason. That is, I will not say that is a general rule of thumb, but for this argument, I'll give her that one.
Nicole is where the name Wes came from. I know that because she called me Wes 14 times.
And how's the weekend?
And it was just more of like a Step Brothers moment. I was like, she calling me West? Is there a T on the end of that? Not just West. I'm like, it's pretty good that she even knows that I'm West. You know what I mean? Like, good enough. Good enough on her part. So I wasn't mad about it.
My name is West. Like that's just part of the. It was so good, because the other thing is that we know a Wes from Brazen Scale, and it's just like, which one's Wes again? Like, nobody here, not at this event, nowhere at this event is there a Wes. Like, oh, yeah. So I was like, we hung out with him for a whole weekend in Colorado. He also had a dog with him. Like, oh, yeah, I don't remember that. Okay. We were in Colorado, and so
she meets a lot of people. Well, I'll let it slide. No big deal.
Yeah, exactly. She is generally better with names. So,
I'm awful. Someone will be like, "Hey, man, my name is. Good to meet you." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, good to meet you." In 38 seconds, gone. No idea. Like, all right, see you later, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm not good with names, but I am good with, I can remember people or like remember the circumstances that I met them, or like what car they may have, or, you know, like maybe where they came from, things like I'm good with that connection, but like actual name, like
cars. That's me. Yeah.
Like what car that they drive, then like, oh, yeah. Okay. Like I can see an RC car and go, oh, I know who that belongs to. It's that person. Like,
my problem is I know the RC car. I know the Instagram page. I don't know what the person looks like because we're not selfie people. We post our little trucks.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see when we are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird. You somehow remember mine. That is true. Also Tyler. So call everyone boss. As long as it's not Bud. I'm good with that one. Hey, Bud. We need to be friends before you call me that,
please. Snap.
Is that a Lincoln? Yeah. It's a Mark 6. It looks like 5.2.
Oh, dude, I was watching the 1320 video of World Cup.
Oh, and yeah.
I think there was a Thunderbird that ripped a wheelie to like the 8th mile, like a 1994 Thunderbird. I was like, who built that? That thing's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I haven't watched the final video, so that I do need to watch, because I mean, World Cup had some great, seeing those little starlets rip down the track on the rear wheels only. I'm like, who is building these? Why? So nuts to think about. I watch a lot more drag racing videos online than just about anything else. So.
I got into Cletus when I think it was one of the World Cup weeks with Mullet. That or his drag and drive in Colorado or something. But it was the one where like they're having issues getting it to get up on 2-step, and so they're just like nitrous into the turbos, and so like that's kind of where I joined. And so I've been a big fan of Mullet ever since. I'm not an El Camino guy or anything, but you put a twin turbo big block in one and make the whole thing shake as it sits there in 2-step. Oh, yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
I've watched Cletus stuff since he was like in his garage building his C7 at the time.
I got my first piece of Cletus merch. Going to try and pick up one of them F-150s. So see how that goes.
I put in an order for some stuff as well. I got myself a new keychain for the car and a new shirt. Nicole will be.
I got a keychain for my Buggy trailer. So
which
hell yeah, brother! Whenever I want to go, hell yeah, brother! Can't go wrong.
I think I got the Freedom one. It was between those two though.
There wasn't a picture of the Freedom one, so I was like, I don't really know what this is. I'll go.
Yeah. That was. I was right there with you. I was like, which one? Yeah, that's good.
Fire Me Up was a close choice.
Fire Me. Yep. I got that and another shirt or two. I can't remember which one. I wanted one of the Cletus aviation shirts because also a big aviation fan, but those were out of stock. So I got maybe a Freedom Factory one or something. I don't remember. I guess we'll find out when it shows up.
I got the Carhartt with just a little Cletus on it. I like that a lot.
Oh, nice. Big
fan of Carhartt hoodies. Big fan of Carhartt hoodies. So
yeah, it's not as cold here. I mean, it's been pretty cold lately, like 60s or so. So it's like, ugh, gotta.
Well, when I lived in Salt Lake, that was like 9 months out of the year you needed a jacket at least, and then 4 of those months you need a coat. So the Carhartt is the way to go. Down here, that's as heavy as you need to go. It's about as cold as it's going to get here. So
yeah, true. 50. Yeah, we can hit 40s here in the mornings.
We can too. It's dropping into the high 30s at night already here, which is weird. It went from 100 degrees to like, hey, it's actually cold now. Like there was no fall, just straight to cold. I was like, well, that sucked.
Yeah. Garrett makes 7 figures off those giveaways. Good for him.
Yeah.
I enjoy supporting it. He's probably my favorite YouTuber at this point.
One of my things that I really like about Cletus is, sure, he makes a lot of money and stuff, but he still performs. Like you take them to those drag race events. I don't care how much money you have to burn down the tree like he does and to run as consistent as he does. The dude can drive. Like he does a good job at what he does.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a big fan of Cletus.
I mean, I'm there for the entertainment. Like that's what
Yeah,
YouTube channel is, and like it's entertaining. I mean, does dumb stuff with cars like I would like to do if I had the facility.
I was a big fan of the truck challenge. Yeah, they've done a lot of fun stuff this year.
So much fun. Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of those things. Like at one of these events or at one time, something like that, I want doing one of the some sort of local challenge where everyone's at somewhere. You only have like 2-3 days while everyone's at the same place. I'm like, we need to figure out a way to do this.
Yeah, so that'd be fun.
One of these events, one of these days, because while I'm at an event, I also want a deadline of some sort.
It's the only way things get done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I don't have this deadline, I don't know how else I would. How else I would do
I'm the same way. I procrastinate. The problem is I don't give myself deadlines, so then stuff just hangs around.
Yeah, it's like unless I have that motivator for some reason, it's everything else, because there's always something else that has to get done somewhere.
I had this Tie Pro hanging out for a long time, and it was like this next project, and then that, and then this next project, and then that, and then finally I was like, all right, I got to build this Tie Pro. So
yeah, I mean, I've had that sitting on the shelf here for it's got to be like.
I think you got yours shortly after mine. Yeah, I think shortly after mine.
Okay, so like I should really probably finish it. Maybe.
Although I will say I've been out there driving it like any one of my other trucks, and I'm really impressed with what it can pull off, especially because mine's not light. It's like 8.5 pounds loaded. And like
right.
it still does really impressive stuff.
So Dan, who I work with, he's got one all set up basically the same way. And I drove it, and I do like the geometry of it. I think the geometry of it is pretty solid. Overall, there's not much about it that I was, unhappy with for that. The size of it was the only thing that was like not my most favorite part. Like just size of the actual cage. I was like, I like it in some ways, and in other ways I feel like that the proportions are just a little funky. But it's I still think it looks good.
My plan is to remove the hood and put Lexan on it, and then I have the scale winch on my shelf over here, and I'm going to do a scale winch on the nose and do a flat panel, because that's how all the JHF cars that I know are built. So I want to do that because I've got a buddy locally here. His name's Woody, and he's got one. And so like in my mind, I'm like, this is Woody's car. So unfortunately, he's one of those Milestar guys, though.
Oh yeah, like I'm not gonna do it like just like that. I'm not putting Patagonias on here. That's. What hood do you have on yours? The resin or the MJF?
He sent me the replacement, so it doesn't have the light buckets anymore.
Okay.
It's a textured finish on it. It's high quality. I've smashed it on some rocks, and it's held up. Yeah,
I got it the other day as well, or the other day, like 2 months ago.
That's one.
Yeah. So it definitely much better than the resin one. I saw that resin one. I was like, this is never going to work. I was like, this is going to absolutely shatter. Mine does, I think, have the light buckets though still.
That's very interesting. Okay. Mine never had those. Mine are hollow.
That is interesting. The hood is the one thing to me also that's like seems so like those.
The grill is too big. Like the headlights are huge.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, it's like those things should be like 40% smaller. So, but that's the one thing I think could have used some work on this thing. But
as far as like someone like me who I don't have a 3D printer and
why
like just I heard you talk about this. I just haven't done it. I don't have I don't have a reason. The real reason is I'm like, what am I going to use from the 3D printer? Because I don't trust 3D printed stuff. Part of that is because I don't have one. So I don't know. Right. Like nothing I run that I'm like, this will be improved if I 3D printed something for it. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. There is, it's also one of those things like the 3D printers are so powerful when you know, like if you have something like, hey, I want this thing. If I design that real quickly, I can then have this, you know, and what that does and what that can unlock. I think that's a huge bonus. But you know, it is one of those things. There is not always enough things that you're just like, okay, I just want to get that file and print it. Or, you know, when it's mainly or often all about the performance side of things, especially when you have friends locally that I know have 3D printers. And if you really need something, you could just call them. So,
and I happen to be friends with a couple designers. So it's like, hey, will you just whip one of those up for me real quick?
And then like, print it for me and deliver it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's go RC crawling when we meet up. Let's go do that.
Let's just do all of that. Thank you for becoming a new member, Rock Demon RC. Much appreciated. The learning CAD is a pain. It is a pain, but it's also like it's also a life skill that doesn't just apply to RC trucks. Like if you have a motivator like RC trucks to learn it, it can then help you with things in other areas of life. Like if you would get a 3D printer and learn CAD, then you could make stuff for your buggy too. You
know. Speaking of making stuff for buggies, I've got a little sneak peek of the next product that I'm going to be offering up, which has been a little while since I've introduced something.
Yeah.
So it'll be really cool, and it's just this little guy right here. This little metal bracket is one of my prototypes. Like
transmission mount.
This is a
VFD or VFD twin.
It's a VFD cradle, and it'll mount it to any flat skid that you want. So you can put it in anything with a flat skid and put a VFD in what you want.
I like it. What are the two holes in the back side there? Like there's, or three even.
So it's just extra mounting positions. So the two in the center are what hold the transmission. You have one offset, but then they're all drilled all the way through. So you can mount through any four of these, depending on the screw length that you're using. Basically, if you're using this for the trans screw, you can use a shorter screw coming up from the bottom, and it'll hold it there if you have to.
Sure, absolutely.
It is different. It is different between a VFD and a VFD twin.
Right.
I have both prototypes. I'm going to tweak my twin one, but the VFD is ready to go.
Sick. When are you going to drop that?
I need to order them. So
that's a part. Yeah.
Soonish. Yeah. Soonish. I need to buy a batch of them, which I'm trying to gauge how I want to go about how many I want to go with on the first round, because it's kind of a niche part. I don't need to sit on top of a bunch of those.
Yeah. So. I mean, and I know exactly what you mean. And so, I think, depending on what your turnaround is, it's always something that might be worth doing pre-order on, even, especially with a niche part. Like that's the thing where those guys would be like, So
and I had talked to my designer on that as well. So but excited to offer something new.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the last thing you had? I remember the winch mounts or the Capras.
That's been it. And then just variations of cut and shuts, but it's all the same stuff there.
So yeah, absolutely. Well, that's cool. When you're ready to do that, you know how to yell at me.
Oh yeah.
So so yeah, I mean things like that, especially for buggies, like you're saying, it's
cool because the rock parts truck here, even those come with a blank skid, and that I would be able to put a stubby VFD in it. I tested it with one of the stubbies I had, and that's been the hard part with the VFD stuff. Is there's a VFD twin, there's a VFD with a dig, there's the VFDs with a stubby, and then every variation of those. And so I'm trying to just like do my homework before I put this thing out, and so I own all the combinations of VFDs now. That's why I have the dig unit, as I was going to put it on and then see how it fit with
make sure that everything's
good stuff. So should be pretty cool.
Where was this one? Hold on just a second. Can you explain a cut and shut? Yeah, I think it's a people who don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I currently don't have one cut apart, but actually, yes, I do. Whatever. It's all over in the corner. So a cut and shut, I take a standard 1.9 tire. I cut up the sidewall, across the tread, and down the sidewall. So then you have a tire that you can splay open like that. And then I take a donor tire, and then I cut a section of tread out of that. Same thing, up sidewall, cross tread and down. But then I cut a section of the tire out. So then I splay open the tire, put that added piece of tire in there, and then I glue those back together to make one larger diameter tire. But it also increases the diameter of the bead. And so it goes from a 1.9 tire, typically 4.75, and then it bumps it up to a 2.2 bead. And then it's usually about 5.25 to 5.4 inches tall. And so,
depending on what the starting height of the original tire is to that. So
exactly.
And that was something that, it's been something that's been done for many, many years. Like back before we had, depending on the scale that we were running, sometimes you just didn't have tires for like supers these days. Like your super tires are what, 8 inches tall?
Yep.
And how many sets of tires does it take to run? And which tires are you running on your super? You running a pin tire of some sort?
So I did not build my super tires. Mine came halfway built, and unfortunately they're all dry rotted. So I'm going to have to rebuild them. But they had some kind of like Sedona on them, I think.
Oh, got ya.
So they're aggressive, chunky tread. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's so depending on there was a number of different ways. Sometimes we would take a large like monster truck type tire back in the day and cut the sidewall out of it, and then find like a 2.2 tire and cut the sidewall out of it so that it went from like a 3.8 inch wheel tire down to a 2.2, so that we could, like there was just not tires made for us back in the day. So we were having to cut up Buggy tires and put 3 Buggy tires together and then put a sidewall from something else in to try and get a
That's hard to do, man. And it's a lot of work. Like for a full set, you're like 12 tires in just for a set of tires. Like it's pretty wild how quick it adds up.
That's what I was saying with your, like the supers, those take a lot of,
I think they're like 2.5 tires per tire.
Yeah.
It's something crazy like that. It's a lot. And you're dealing with 2.2 tires. So they're starting out this big, and then you're stretching them all the way out. But
yeah,
the advantages are basically it's not a huge 2.2 because a lot of the 2.2s available are like just too tall. I see people in the axial Capra owners group just put 2.2s on them and they're huge and top heavy. And then they're like, why does this thing roll over all the time? I'm like, well, you killed your center of gravity because you put a 4-inch lift kit on it. Like,
5.75 inch tall, 2.2 with longer shocks than stock anyway. So,
yeah. And it's funny because it doesn't sound like a big difference, like a 1/2 inch taller tire, but it's a big difference in an RC. So
yeah, wild difference. And have you ever torn a cut and shut?
Sure. Typically the glue joint is very strong. It will, as you break in a tire and it starts like break off those leading edges, that's when you'll start to notice like pinholes develop. But I've never just been out in a bind and just ripped a tire in half. It's amazingly strong how tough these things are.
Yeah. New Vanquish tire size. You're talking about the Exolander, the XMT. It's 5.1 inches tall, but it's a 2.2, so it's kind of in that size range. Like what I was running before was I had Hyraxes that were cut and shut, and they were like right at 5 1/4. So on the 2.2, I think I still have a set around here somewhere. But
someone asked about ripping a tire. I actually have a J Concepts. I can't find it it's this one. The sidewall of the original tire failed before the cut and shut failed. So there's a pizza slice right here. It's hard to tell once they're dirty, which is good for me.
Right. Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But I mean, the cut and shut's right in there. And you can stretch your tire and it doesn't come apart. Yeah. I'm mean to my tires. So and I've got a lot of friends that are mean to theirs. So
Vanquish should offer a cut and shut size too. That's basically what the Exo.
That's what. It's a good size.
The XMT. It's right in. It's a slightly shorter, 5.1 basically, rather than 5.25.
And J Concepts is offering that size of tire on quite a few tread patterns now. The problem is they're just J Concepts, and they were like, "Look at this cool new tire that everybody wants. We're not going to make enough of them." And it's like over and over they do this, and I'm like, guys, come on.
Yeah, they do that with the tusks in general. There's like, yeah, we get some, and then then wait 4 more months, and you'll maybe ever see like.
Yeah, but then
Connor,
they continually
I
like,
saw
here's
that.
a new one, here's a new one.
I saw that comment go up for half a second before you retracted it. Axial Fest questions that I posed to the group. Pretty fun. Tusks and megalithic. Is that the two that they're offering in those 2.2 sizes? Yeah. Similar in size to the Hyrax LP. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done the megalithic or not. They may have, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh wait. That's right. The megalithic is the one that's kind of Rover-esque, right? Maybe a little bit more.
They're funky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not ran those tires actually. I started running a lot of the, like buggy stuff in general, where I do like that the buggies, you need a licensed tire. Like I like that.
Yeah.
So
I like that it's a more realistic. It's so much simpler to do that than like Sorka's trying to measure lugs on time. It's like, guys, just make them licensed, because it's a scale comp anyway. Just make them licensed.
Yeah. I mean, Sorka is a name that we haven't talked about in quite a while, I think, because it seems like they have just kind of lost a lot of their way.
I was always felt that way about it. Just like getting into it, I was like, man, there's a lot going on here. And so I started a comp series in Utah where it was basically like 4.75 max tire height, have a body, no dig in class 2, chassis rails the length of the car. That's about it.
Right. Our local rules are very similar. And it was,
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, because for one, local guys, you don't want to, they're not trying to travel. They're trying to run what they have. They're trying to have fun with their RC car and be done. And that's fine. So yeah. And yeah, I mean, I know that on a national scale, it's hard to do that, but I think that they took it. I think that they found that they took it too far too quickly, or not too quickly, but at some point.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah. At the national level events, I mean, how many people are showing up to like scale Nats?
120.
Yeah. So at our local events, we were pulling 90 to 130 people, just because the relaxed rules.
Yeah. And I mean, you can throw a local event here in town, and like if you like let people know about it, like sometimes here you don't let too many people know because you just don't want them to get too big. Like, because if you let people know, like you try to, you better be at a location that's cool with it, because you'll have 300 people at a local event here. There's like, yeah, let's go. Like, what are we doing? And it's just like, it's too many people. Here you almost have to be like,
I had that happen at one of my first comps. Everybody showed up, everybody's getting their score sheets, and all of a sudden I'm out of score sheets and there's a line of people left. And I'm like, oh crap. So we figured it out. But yeah, it wasn't pretty the first couple times.
Yeah. 949 gifted 5 memberships. Thanks again, 949, and congrats to any of those guys that grabbed it. There's 51 members videos right now.
What exactly is gifting 5 memberships? I don't know.
So basically, he made a donation, but then that donation just pays for 5 people for a month to have a channel membership.
That's cool.
So it's
right on.
It's appreciated. I like it. I flew across the country for one of those local comps. Yeah, I was at a local comp out here, and all of a sudden, like Brett from Brazen Scale and Chris from TGH, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is a local thing. Like, this is a local comp. Like it was in the winter, and we had the nice weather. We were comping on the beach, and but it was just like, I was like, did I miss what this comp was? Like, I thought this was just one. Like,
yeah, that's awesome. We've got a local comp coming up. We've got a local comp coming up this weekend. It's a toy drive for a Sub for Santa charity this weekend, so that'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
And then the entry is just bring in a couple toys, and that's how you get entered to win. And then it's class 2 and class 3. Should be fun. It's down here in St. George, Utah. So excellent.
Yeah, those are absolutely cool comps, the Toys for Tots and those type of things, or whatever the actual chip. There's been they've done the canned food ones here. We've done that.
Nice. That's a good way to go.
Yep.
And it was really cool last year because we knew one of the guys. He always hung out at the hobby shop, and then we ended up getting a drive, and we ended up having like 2.5 truck beds full of toys that we were able to donate. And then later on, he was doing Facebook Lives of him going out and delivering to the families like what we had put together.
They actually did. Oh, gotcha.
And like seeing the end result. And it wasn't anything like super personal or anything. It was like, dude showed up, dropped off a bunch of stuff, knocked on the door and left. Like that's what it was. But it was just awesome to be like, damn, dude, like there it is. Like we got to see the end result. That's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Because you assume it's one of those things like it's just going to a donation center and getting dropped off, and then it's like, what do you do? Yeah. But thank you, my wife. Where do we find more info on your comps? For
that one in particular, on my Instagram, there's a link tree, and one of them says North versus South comps, I believe, and it's a Facebook group, and I believe it's tied into that too.
There you go. So yeah, North versus South, and if you're on Facebook, I think I've seen it come up as that way as well. So yeah, that's St. George is such a cool place to go to. I had heard rumors that we're going to have a good size event in Cedar City this upcoming year, and I hope that becomes a thing. So I'm looking forward to that if it does, because I've not been to Cedar City in like 10 years. So
we had nationals in October for the robots. That was really fun. And then I don't know of anything else specific going on in Cedar. I don't know. I don't know. But Connor and I are going to start doing a local WRCCA series because we all have MOAs and sportsmen, and we only use them once or twice a year. And we're just like, dude, we want to drive these things more. So we're going to do a local comp, but that won't be a big turnout. That's just for fun. So not as many people have those.
Yeah. There used to be so many of them here as well. And I guess I was told that there's a comp on the 17th. See, they were trying to keep it quiet, but should try and get it ready. I know I won't have time, but that's Kent Dixon, not Clint. Thank you for joining. And Silverlink 98 also. Thank you for joining. St. George is amazing. Yeah. The last time I was there, I swung through and spent like half a day in Zion quickly, just as much as I could before I had to fly back out of the tiny little airport that exists in Cedar City. And that part of the country is one of the best.
Yeah, if I'm trying to get people to come out here, that's usually how I'm like, hey, come out for Zion, go to the national park, and then while you're here, take a half a day and go check this whatever out. So.
Yeah, that was Pioneer Park is where I crawled down in St. George the most, I think. And
I was there today.
Yeah. Oh, so awesome. Such a cool place.
That's a really awesome spot, specifically because it's easy to access. Like you can have a car show up on the park, 2-minute hike, and you're playing on whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly. I had a rental Econo box, and I just drove somewhere. And I was like, there. I just parked and then walked 100 yards and played around on the rocks for a few hours, and then was like, all right, I have to go back and catch my flight.
There you go.
Back up the hill to Cedar City. So, yeah, absolutely a blast. We have a little less than a minute or so left. Logan, thank you for filling Matt's shoes. West Desert Wooler, as Nicole calls it.
Weller,
yeah. I can't even say it how she says it, but YouTube, Instagram, all the like. You probably already know, but if you haven't checked out his channel, you should go do that. And once you get closer to the release of your next product, make sure and let me know so I can
absolutely
put that on the scale news.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks everybody for joining again this week. Great time. Matt should be back next week. I will break the news to him of what his wheel.
I don't think he'll feel too bad about that. I think he'll be.
I don't think he will either
that.
until he tries to accomplish it. That's
I'm gonna get the Dremel out.
That's when it's gonna get fun for him.
Well, thanks so much for the invite, dude. I really do appreciate it. It's fun to get on here and chat with you, man.
Good times. So thanks everybody else for joining as well, and see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.